I'm definitely going to have to buy a new race shoe, and let's be honest, who doesn't want another excuse to buy a race shoe? Or hi everybody, welcome to today's video. My name is Matt and this is What Matters to Matt. Now on today's video I want to talk to you about a shoe that I reviewed earlier on in the year. This is a shoe that I ran a marathon and got a 33-minute PR earlier in the year in. And this is also a shoe that after that marathon I said this probably wasn't going to be a shoe that I was going to use for another race going forward. There's a couple of things that have changed over time, so I wanted to do a little bit of a recap, a little bit of a review after I've gotten some more miles in this shoe. And I want to hear from you whether you think I need to be buying a new shoe for next spring marathon and using this one for my workouts for a big marathon build I've got coming up, or whether I should save what it has left, save some miles in this shoe and actually use that for the marathon. Now, of course, after you've seen the thumbnail and you've seen the title of this video, and if you're somebody who watched my channel in the past, we are definitely talking about the Adidas Adios Pro 3. All right, so the last thing I want to say before I get into this review is that if you hear a bunch of extra noise coming from the mic up above, my wife's got a meeting right across the hall and my kids are kind of bouncing off the walls in the other room, but I wanted to get this review out and get your opinion because I've got to make a pretty big decision coming up here really soon. Going to talk about a couple of different points. One of them surprised me after I actually got more miles into the shoe, and the other one came from a little bit of a tip that I got from another YouTuber out there that really fixed one of the big problems that I had with the shoe that I think was also a problem that others were having. So let's get into the review. All right, so I'm not going to rehash all the stats of this shoe and all of the things that I like about it. If you want to see that, I'll put a link to the video up top here. And also I'll put a link to the Adidas website in the description down below, and I'll throw some of the stats up on the screen here now. But a couple of things I did want to mention that haven't changed one bit for me about this shoe is I am such a big fan of that Continental rubber on the bottom of the shoe. Adidas is known for the outsole of their shoes. I was a little bit surprised. Pretty thin on the bottom, but seems to have worn really well. You can hardly tell that I've put any miles on this shoe. You can tell, but honestly, still looks really good. And the grip for how smooth it is was also really nice. The midsole of this, that Light Strike Pro, had just the right amount of protection for me. We've got bumping up pretty close to the legal limit in this shoe in terms of the stack height. I think we've got a 6.5 millimeter drop. It's been a while since I've looked at that. And also these energy rods. That whole combination, midsole, outsole, energy rods, has worked really well for me. And I'll talk about here in a second how I think it's actually gotten even better. The upper is where a lot of people had some issues, and I had one big issue during the marathon that we'll talk about in a sec, and a fix that I've had for that. But outside of that, even though I did have that one issue with the upper, I actually like the upper on this shoe. It's very breathable. I know it's quite stiff, but I was able to get an incredibly good lockdown. This shoe fit true to size for me. Let's get into the couple of points that I had that I was a little bit surprised about. So let's get into one of the two main things that I wanted to talk about today, and it is a little bit of a surprise for me. And the surprise comes from not this shoe, but just super shoes in general. And that's that after a little bit over 100 miles in this, I actually like the midsole better. And if you were to ask me whether I wanted to run in this pair of Adidas Adios Pro 3, I screwed that up somewhere, or a brand new pair, I would actually pick this to run my next marathon in. And the reason why is that I really love this out of the box, and I really like that it felt like you could really set it and forget it in terms of a marathon cruiser. It would lock into a pace and it would leave me there, and I would still get a good energy return. But it has softened up a little bit over time, and it's softened up just enough that I feel like this has actually broken into something really special for me. And when I took it out on the last workout, I realized that I probably actually liked it more than when I first got it. Still very protective, still has that similar energy return that I really like in it, but also softened up, broke in just enough where after 100 miles it is kind of in the perfect spot for me. That's number one. Now the second reason why I'm actually thinking about holding on to this shoe, keeping it shelved to use it for a spring marathon comes down to these little eyelets, these little buggers up here that so many people, if anybody had a problem with this, it seemed to be in this upper, and it seemed to be because of those eyelets in the front of this shoe. For whatever reason, when I tightened down these front couple of lace loops, just the way they've got them built here, there is a stitching on the inside of this shoe, right down underneath, and that, when I tighten them down, creates quite a bit of pressure, and that really rubbed my foot raw in the spring marathon that I ran in these. I kind of ignored it during the race, but it really was kind of painful, and it had me thinking, it had me feeling like I didn't want to go through that again in a race. But I was watching somebody else who had had a similar issue with this shoe on YouTube, and they talked about how they honestly left those first couple of eyelets, just these two down here where people seem to have all the problem, left them loose, or at least didn't cinch them down. Now, I am the first one to admit that when I'm in a race, I really like to lock down my shoe, but I thought, you know, what the heck, we'll run a few workouts, run a couple longer workouts in it, and we'll leave those fairly loose and just concentrate on locking down the midfoot and up here at the top of the shoe. And it's felt really nice. I haven't had that problem anymore. Granted, those workouts are not 42.2 kilometers or 26 miles, but I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to get that same pressure from the front of the shoe. And I'm also confident that the lockdown in the rest of this is solid, is really nice. So I'm not going to have any kind of issue with locking my foot into this and leaving the bottom of this pretty wide open, not really tying it tight at all. So taking those 2 points into consideration, the fact that the midsole is almost exactly where I want it right now, and I could shelve this and it would be incredible coming spring marathon, and also that it feels like I've solved the problem with the lace loops, I have to make the decision, and this is where I want your opinion in the description down below. Do I put this into my rotation and start using it as a workout shoe, which means between now and the spring, I'm definitely going to have to buy a new race shoe, and let's be honest, who doesn't want another excuse to buy a race shoe? Or do I shelve it? Because in 100% honesty, and I've got a shoe that I haven't done a review on that's been out forever, that shoe is the Endorphin Speed 3. I bought this shoe with the intent on using it as a workout shoe. I would like to be able to rotate these two shoes as workout shoes for long run workouts and pretty much everything else, and have to buy another race shoe for a spring marathon and have to do another review on another race shoe for a spring marathon. So I need your help on this. Do you think that I should incorporate this into my current workouts, into my long run workouts over the next number of months, so that I need to buy a new race shoe come the spring? Or do I shelve this for now, hold on to it, use it as the super shoe that it is when I run that race in May? Comment in the comment section down below. What do you think I should be doing? If you like this video, head on over to my channel, check out some of my other videos, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, share this with your running buddies. My name is Matt. This has been What Matters to Matt, and ultimately, what matters to me most is my family. I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, it just became too hard for me to ignore, and it wasn't about the mic and being able to pick up other sounds going on around the house. There is a light up top here that has been flickering this whole entire video, and it's been driving me nuts.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a